Hello and welcome to episode number 97 on the Online Trainers Podcast. Today's topic is your new customer is somebody else's lost customer. Hello and welcome to the Online Trainers Podcast, where we go behind the scenes to uncover the latest tactics and strategies top trainers around the world are using to get more clients, dominate their marketplace, and get their clients amazing results. There is absolutely no fluff here. I'm your host, Lynn Trim. Now, I'm just in Macau. I'm doing a bit of family travel over Christmas, and I thought I'd share this podcast episode with you. It was really, really funny what happened last week, because last week I got scammed. It's the first time I've ever been scammed before. It's super, super funny. It wasn't funny at the time. It was really frustrating. It was really annoying, but now I'm able to look back and kind of laugh at it. And, you know, if you're on my email list, you would have got an email from me detailing what happened. But a few weeks ago, I think 3 weeks ago, I was at a business workshop with Kerry, and I thought I'd be a great partner. And for a long time, Kerry's wanted a veggie patch garden so she can grow her vegetables, she can grow her herbs. And so I decided to surprise her by getting the front of the house completely redecked, completely re-landscaped. And so I got this landscape artist in. He was great at selling. He was a phenomenal seller. And, you know, there were so many key lessons that I could take away from this. The first thing is his ability to sell. So rather than sell me the benefits and the features and tell me what pots and plants he was going to get in, he was talking about the end result. He was talking about, you know, he was really hitting all my pain points. And I didn't even know I had these pain points. But these were the things that I really wanted. And I really wanted it to look beautiful, wanted it to be clean and low maintenance, because I don't do any mowing of the lawns or gardening or weeding or anything like that. I wanted Kerry to have an amazing surprise. I wanted it to be quick. Now, he knew it was going to be a surprise for Kerry, so he kept bringing up the fact that how he just did one for his partner and how amazing it was and how she completely fell in love with it. And you know, he was painting the ideal vision. Now, at any moment in time, did he not talk about how many plants I was going to get, what type of herb garden I was going to receive, what type of manure he was going to use or whatever? He wasn't talking about the plants. And so at the end of it, I was like, can you do this for me? And he was like, yep, I can do it. I can do it in 3 days at $7,500, but you'll need to pay 50% deposit. And I was like, okay, cool, I trust you. He had built up so much certainty, so much trust in our 30-minute conversation that I literally handed him about close to $4,000 sent through to his bank account. And over the next few days, I was at the business workshop, and he kept calling me and he kept saying, like, Lynn, look, I've got a fantastic idea for your garden. I want to put a waterfall in it. I want to put up some bamboo fences and trees, and I want to completely redeck it. But man, like, and here's the thing, he was so invested to seeing Kerry happy. He kept saying, man, I just want to make it the best because I know Christmas is coming. This is going to blow her out of the water. But he said, look, I'm not going to charge you anymore, but I'm going to need the rest of the money because I'm not going to make any money of this. I'm going to need the rest of the money so then I can buy the equipment. And that's when it seemed a little bit like, oh, why is he doing this? Why is he being this nice? And then he gave me a reason. He's like, Lynn, I want to use your garden as a portfolio to advertise on my website. And as soon as he gave me that reason, my doubt went away. And in that instance, I transferred him the next $3,500-4,000 into his bank account. And then he said, look, I'll have this done by Sunday night. You guys will come back. You guys will be completely blown away. And so I left the seminar on Sunday. We actually wagged the seminar. And I came home, and funnily enough, I went out to the front garden, and the garden was clean. He'd done a bit of work in it because we'd been going back and forth, but it was far from complete. Basically, all he'd done is taken out the reeds, taken out the trees and the weeds, and just cleaned up a bit of the place. He'd knocked down half the fence, but it was like 10% done. And so at this time, you could probably imagine my face. Like, I'm just standing there thinking, oh my God, because he told me, Lynn, it's 80% ready. I'm not done yet. And so I walked back, and I was with Kerry, and Kerry was like, oh my God, that's so awesome. And I couldn't really break it to her. So she was like, oh my God, that's awesome. I can't believe you surprised me. It's going to look so good. He told her it was going to look so good. But man, I was pissed because I knew what had happened. I knew that this guy had overpromised. He had nobody on hand, and he was going to do a runner. And it ended up like 2 weeks later, he kept saying he'd come, but he never showed up. And then what I did one day was his apprentices were there, and basically they weren't paid for their work. They did 2 weeks of work with him. They didn't get paid. And then they sent me through an article. The Herald Sun, like the newspaper, wrote an article about him and how he had scammed 30 other people. And then from then it was
getting him out and saying it's over, accepting my losses and then moving on. And so I went through about 2 weeks of turmoil because my certainty was lost, and I gave him my certainty, I gave him money. And so for me, I was out of control, because once you lose your certainty, once you give people control, that's when you become very unhappy. Now, there are a few key lessons that I learned here. The first was you should be able to sell by selling the desire, the outcome. Okay, because I never haggled on price. If he had sold me on all these plants I was going to get, the manure, yes, I was stupid. Yes, I should have looked twice at that. But there are a few key fundamentals here that really I could take away. Selling was one. Sell on the outcome. Okay, sell on the desire, sell on the end result, sell on the feelings, the emotions, and you won't ever have to haggle again on price. The second thing was the fact that he was able to upsell as well. So he'd taken the deposit, but because the next offer was so good, I couldn't resist but to give him more money. So he was able to extract the full $7,500 amount, and he might have put in about 5 hours of labor, who knows. And so the last thing that I learned as well, because we ended up getting another landscaper to finish up the job, was that when I approached the second landscaper, I told him what had happened. I'd said, I don't want this to happen. You're going to finish the work before I even pay you, and this is how it's going to be, because I was upset. And the third thing really gave me a really good lesson in regarding who our clients are and how many of our clients have had bad experiences in the past with other services, other personal trainers, other coaches, other supplement companies who have overpromised but failed to deliver. And why this was so important is because this person, the landscaper, got my job because he understood that. And he said, don't worry, people come to me when they get scammed by other people. It's not a great feeling, but they come to me and I'm happy to finish the job because I feel genuinely bad for them. And so why I went with this guy is because he knew exactly what my pain was. He knew that I'd just been scammed. And so he was able to take that risk away from me from being disappointed again, because there was no way I was going to pay another 50% deposit to any other landscaper asking for it. Just no way. So with that being said, the story goes on, and I'm sure I'll write it in an email, a nice blog post, but I'm just in Macau at the moment. I just wanted to get the gist out. But the main point of this today is really you have to understand that your customers, your prospects who are coming to you now, they've either been burnt before by other coaches, other trainers. They've either been turned off because they've tried supplements and they've wasted a crap ton of money and they haven't gotten results. They've been disappointed by Jenny Craig and losing them into metabolism. They're upset. They're pissed off. They're like me. There's no way that even if they did have money, they wouldn't want to put out the risk at feeling stupid, feeling dumb again. So the thing that you have to ask yourself today is, how can you eliminate the risk reversal? Or how can you eliminate the risk by offering some sort of a risk reversal and really acknowledging that? Because once you acknowledge that, especially in your sales calls or your lead generation or whatever, or however you're following up or contacting them, if you can eliminate the risk and you can understand what they've been through, your sales conversions will increase drastically. Okay, and this guy got the deal because he completely understood my pain point. It's really understanding where they are at this moment in time, and I feel as though most personal trainers, most coaches don't respect this, and they just treat everybody the same. And what you have to understand is, if you're marketing towards 20-year-old plus who have gone through supplement, pills, light and easy, whatever it is, other trainers, other coaches and they've been burnt in the past, you really have to respect and appreciate this. And that's how you will win over customers, like that landscaper won me over the second guy. And so with that being said, there's obviously a few lessons here. The first was completely giving away control, because I had put money in, and so by giving him money I lost control. And so I spent 2 weeks trying to follow him up, frustrated every single day. I was out of state because he wouldn't rock up. And I was like, dude, why? And he kept saying he was 30 minutes away, and then he had to go to hospital, and then he had to go to Bunnings, and he had to go to other sites. And so my day was thrown out of control because I gave him control. That's the first thing. As soon as I saw that, the funniest thing was that when I received that Herald Sun article, I felt relieved. I thought, oh my God, this nightmare's over. Okay, I knew it. Now I can move on. And so that allowed me to take complete ownership and take control back and go, okay, I'm going to get someone else to finish it. That's a loss. That's my bad. Let's move on. And that I was relieved as opposed to angry, because I was able to get my control back. And so that's something I learned as well. But the main lesson I wanted to bring out here is that if you don't understand, you don't respect that your prospects and your customers is somebody else's lost customer that is trained with someone else, they've been unhappy, because they won't tell you, because most people won't say they've trained with someone else, that they've been scammed 100 times, because you don't allow them to talk most of the time. Unfortunately, trainers and coaches, we don't. And if you do, fantastic, you'll find that out. But when you get to that point and you appreciate, you respect that, sales will become a lot easier. Okay, so I hope that helps, and that's your one task for today, is how can you incorporate that and find out what they've tried in the past and why they failed and how has that made them feel, because if you can understand and respect that, that's going to help. But with all that being said, I just wanted to wish you a great Christmas as well, especially if I don't get the next podcast in time, as we're moving as well just to another format as well, where I want to give you more content as I put weekly interviews in between the daily podcast shows. All right, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you on the next podcast episode.
Alright, if you enjoyed this podcast, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes, and feel free to leave a review, and that way I can respond and I can take that on board in developing content to serve you. Now, if you're not a part of the Online Trainers Club on Facebook, please do yourself a favor and be a part of the conversation. That's where I add daily tips, tricks, and strategies on how you can build out funnels, how you can get more clients, and ultimately become a better online coach. Thank you for listening.